to another episode of Talking in Bits, where we walk you through Bitcoin bit by bit to provide you the information you need to possibly get rich. We got another one for you. 2 touchdowns.
Episode 14.
Episode 14. Ben, what's going on, brother?
How are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be back for another week.
Glad to be back.
You know, hopefully you guys have been paying attention. Hopefully you guys have been sharing.
Who bought that dip? Did you buy the dip?
Have you been paying attention? You bought the dip. I bought the dip. Did you buy the dip?
I smashed the dip.
Yeah, it's easy to do nowadays.
Yeah.
You brought up a good point before we started recording, which was, you know, you wake up and Bitcoin is at a high price, but it's good.
Yeah.
We're going to repeat that. I don't even want to paraphrase it for you. Good.
When you wake up and Bitcoin is at a good or higher price, it's a good day. And then if you wake up and the market's down, like you buy more and it's a good day. Because
you buy more.
Yeah, it's a sell.
It's such a crazy feeling. Yeah, like I never, usually, right, you see something that's like losing value technically, and you're just like, nah, I'm good. This is one of those rare things where you just keep coming back. And I think they've made it too easy for you to buy now.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the older dudes appreciate how hard it was back in the day to actually get some Bitcoin. And later on, we're going to talk about peer-to-peer. I would like to talk about peer-to-peer, and we can see that. But let's talk about mass adoption first. Yeah. Because obviously the reason we wake up to all-time highs and greater prices is because there's a shift happening.
Yeah. Bitcoin is proving itself to the world, and the world is adopting to Bitcoin. Yeah. And it's a race to who's going to accumulate the most first.
It seems like every day.
Yeah.
By the way, there's no plug for Chipotle. Go get your Chipotle on tomorrow, depending on when you listen to this. Nah. I don't know what the terms are, but I heard tomorrow they're giving away some Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, it's $100,000 in Bitcoin.
It might be easy to get some Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I've been the recipient.
Chipotle is bomb. There's one down the street from my crib. I'm on that.
That's the one we go to. It is good. Although they be slipping. Just check the bag before you leave the Chipotle.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like the one over there, they're slipping.
Gotcha.
But is there ahead, I guess, first restaurant to announce?
Yeah.
That's completely different. It's one thing to say that you're going to give away Bitcoin, and there's another thing to actually use it on a day-to-day basis. So I wonder what their plan is coming up. Listen, I'm going to go on the assumption here, and anybody could comment and hate on me otherwise. I'm going to go on the assumption that all this stuff has to be with Lightning.
Yeah.
And have you noticed the correlation with Lightning kind of being in every conversation now? But we're about to move into this area because I bet you all these companies were waiting for is how can we do it? And I think Fold and a few of the early companies that were using Lightning and opening channels, Jack Mallers of the world, right? Strike, were basically saying, this is how. Yeah. And now we might be seeing some early stuff going on.
I mean, as you say that, Bitcoin is the layer and we're building a new infrastructure on top of it. Right. Absolutely. So Lightning is going to allow Chipotle to do that. It's going to allow in the future, say Walmart or Target or Amazon to do Whole Foods. Yep. You know what I mean? Like once all these CEOs say we want a dollar cost average Bitcoin and we want you to be able to buy your groceries in Bitcoin, your Target purchases, your Walmart purchases, all of a sudden those companies across, I had a tweet that had I think it was Target and Walmart have over 12,000 locations. Right. And hundreds of thousands of employees. Right. And so when the employees convert their paycheck to Bitcoin, when they start dollar cost averaging on their own, and then they will basically allow you to pay for food or goods in Bitcoin. So they'll have 3 sources of new, mass adoption. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I know we're going to fast forward a little bit, but I just want to bring this point up because it's important. So with all that being said, why would PayPal go with Litecoin? Or why would they I don't know.
You just literally laid out the master plan for the best monetary system with Lightning Network being proven already. Like you said it, right? So gold was the Bitcoin. It was the analog level, right? The base layer. And then on top of that is the Visa system, right? And then on top of that, the PayPal system. So that Nick Basia layered money type approach or whatever. So Lightning is the Visa, right? Lightning is how we're going to be able to do these things. But here go PayPal. Yeah. What's up, man? Fossil move, man.
They're allowing their customers to buy stuff with, I believe, Bitcoin, Litecoin, I think Ethereum. It's 3 coins.
Well, I actually heard that they were doing the transactions in the background with Ethereum.
Gotcha.
So that's when I'm like, I could be wrong.
Oh, yes. I saw that too. Simultaneously, that's going on. So on the checkout end, you have that news. But on the other side, you have the news that you're thinking about.
And it may sound like I'm hating on Ethereum because anything that works and plugs and plays, go for it.
I forgot about that.
But it's listen,
I saw the tweets.
Lightning Network is the way to go. Yeah. You can't top gas fees, and the Lightning Network has proven that there's no fees. It's nominal.
How are they going to pull it off then?
What?
Ethereum in the background.
I don't know. They keep promising their people that they're working on the gas fees. And maybe they are, because software is one of those things that you got to keep building, right? I don't even want to put Ethereum on the loop that it has 12 years in like Bitcoin does. It does not. So I understand that. But as of now, you're kind of losing in the competition that you're trying to compete in.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, their biggest problem is that they're losing in that arena. But I don't know. I still think fossil move is what I think PayPal does. And I think literally what they just did was a fossil move. It's cool. Even if it doesn't happen that way and it's Bitcoin, I don't want to shop with my Bitcoin.
Yeah.
There's people that do.
I think, there's going to be people who HODL like us.
Yeah.
And then there's just going to be people who kind of treat it like Venmo.
And both.
Or like PayPal money.
Yeah.
Or maybe they do some of both.
There has to be an incentive to do so.
Yeah.
If you're telling me that I could hold on to this and it'd be worth more, you got to give me something back. Like maybe if like a lot of these companies do an interest.
Yeah.
Maybe if I hold it on PayPal, you start giving me some interest. Yeah. I think Fold is working on doing something like that, right? It's a smart thing. If we hold your asset and we hold the keys, we have to be able to give you something for it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the approach. But it's just, you gave the blueprint, the Walmart blueprint. Lightning is the key. Lightning is the answer. It's proven.
They're talking, not Walmart, but the hypothetical article that we read was like, imagine a Walmart with a node at each checkout. You know what I mean?
It could already be it's happening not with Walmart, but in certain places in the world.
Absolutely.
Like,
Small businesses.
We had Jack Mallers later on in the conversation in El Salvador where he did with they set up Strike over there, meaning that I'm assuming you can probably get most consumables by walking up to a kiosk and being able to do that.
Yeah.
I've seen Bitcoin documentaries on YouTube where like it was like, like 5-6 years ago, and they were in China paying in restaurants with barcodes and paying in Bitcoin. So
China's adopted this early.
You
on a peer-to-peer level.
They're good, man. They're always ahead of stuff, man. And I don't know what the reason for that. That's a whole other, rabbit hole conversation. But they always seem to understand something that we don't get till later on. And this is just another example, but I'm glad that it's coming around. I just don't know what company is going to be the first one to say, like, entice me enough to spend my Bitcoin. That's a tough sell.
I mean, even with
maybe I'm saying it wrong.
The whole Tesla thing.
Yeah.
It's like, don't spend Bitcoin on Tesla. Just get a fiat loan at 4 or 5 points.
Convince me. That's an asset that's deflating, and you're swapping it for an asset that's inflating. Why? Like I'm not a genius, that when it comes to like that money stuff. That seems like a bad decision to me to give a Bitcoin up.
I think it's probably for people who just
swagger
have enough to do that.
Yeah, swagger jacking. Yeah. Which I don't understand. I'm not in that ball game, but it's just interesting to me that that's even a proposition. I don't know what company will let me do it. And then the argument where people will say is, well, Jose, you always talk about Lightning though. How are you paying these artists and these podcasters and all that stuff? Well, thanks to Jack Mallers and thanks to everybody, Breez and a few other companies, I could turn fiat to Lightning immediately. So it's the same thing as paying my Netflix bill every month. I just turn it into Lightning sats and go to my favorite app and stream the $14.99 that I was going to give to Netflix. So I'm not using my Bitcoin. Strike and these other companies are alleviating me of having that feeling of, damn, I'm giving up my gold. And what they're doing is they're letting us flip fiat on the fly. So you can still podcast 2.0. You can still, whatever the future is for the Lightning, you can go to Chipotle and not worry about like, damn, I forgot my debit card. I don't got any cash. That's cool. But do you have a way to convert it like Strike from your bank account into Lightning and be able to walk into Chipotle and be like, boom. Let me get that 15% offer that you guys got for Lightning only people because I'm able to swap my fiat on the fly right here in front of you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that's about to go down with this mass adoption stuff. We can bring up Teletubbies.
Yeah.
It's just another man.
Well, the funny part is like with the news of Goldman Sachs offering Bitcoin to their customers because of, the other big institutions doing the same. They've now, announced that, and so simultaneously it's on the day that the Teletubbies announced some Bitcoin
I didn't get it
offering, and the Teletubbies have laser eyes, so it's like Jan from Swan Bitcoin had posted, he was like, this is like the funniest timeline, but it was the documenting Bitcoin tweet, and then there was another tweet at the bottom that basically said, Goldman Sachs coming to the Bitcoin table on the day of the Teletubbies tells you all you need to know.
For real.
About these dinosaurs.
For real. And the Teletubbies got more attention. I think either he or somebody else was leaning in that direction where it was like, look, Look at the attention that the Teletubbies are getting over an old fossil system.
Yeah.
That's interesting, but that's where we find ourselves, man. We find ourselves in this really cool area where you could get meme to death. You could get meme to greatness. That's the crazy part about it. Teletubbies are on Chipotle on the same week. Do you see this madness, this news that just, you just keep waking up to the ETFs? I can't speak on that, but I don't know if you want to touch on that.
Yeah. More and more companies who hold your 401ks are going to allow you to buy Bitcoin. So that means everyone who has a 9-to-5, who has a retirement fund,
exposure,
they can have that exposure if they want, which means more daily buys.
That's fantastic.
To support a higher price.
Right. And they're gonna, I'm sure, like with all these examples, the Walmart, that all these new ETFs that are starting up, the Fidelities of the world, it's a sad squeeze.
Yeah.
Because they can't just always live off the business model. In my opinion, somebody who's in business can bring this up to me. Their business model can't be every time you pay us, we get Bitcoin. Their business model has to be, we have this much percentage in reserve in Bitcoin already. And then every now and then we dabble in exchanging for you, right?
Yeah.
So this only, I only bring this up to say, if Walmart starts paying and doing these things, they have to hold Bitcoin. If these ETFs are starting up where 9-to-5, 401k guys could get in, has to, it's a sat squeeze. They're running out of supply. They have to hold this stuff.
Yeah.
And when they hold this stuff, it's off the market. And when it's off the market, what happens for us?
The price goes up. Yeah. Let's speak on, people, if you have a 9-to-5, you're listening to the show.
Yep.
You have a retirement fund. You're thinking about adding Bitcoin to your portfolio. I posted today, how's everyone's Q1 investments going?
Okay.
The S&P 500 up 5, almost 6%. Anybody holding gold, you're down 10%. Anybody holding Bitcoin, you're up 103% in 3 months. You'll get 15, maybe 20 points in the stock market.
Yeah.
You'll get 100% in 3 months if you got in January. I mean, and if you got in November, October, it was probably another 100% there.
Right.
So
add to that the puppetry, right?
Yeah, consider that. Consider mass adoption. Consider this is really going mainstream.
Yeah. And
the price is only going to go up. So
it's going to go up. Yep. And the what if question that always kind of stubbed Bitcoin before, which is if you only make a block every 10 minutes, how can we go to a Chipotle and do this? How can we keep the fees down? Lightning. How can we? And now Lightning was around 2018, I believe, was Lightning started. But now Lightning has evolved into this huge network system that is working. It just works. It makes sense. It's safe. Really cool stuff going on. Mass adoption.
Yeah.
This is the key. Being able to pay people over and over is great. ETFs getting in. It's a sat squeeze, guys. What that basically means is that whatever you have in your possession is just going to go up in value because these companies have to have the business model of holding. In my opinion, I don't know if that's true, but it would be very difficult to build a business on the legs of we'll always convert for you. And we have none of it. Because you want to increase your value in the background as it goes up and you're holding for these people, but you got to have some kind of countermeasure to say, hey, we'll give you the asset back.
Yeah.
Right. Like it can't just be like, whoa, we'll give you some stable coin to replace the asset. Because in my opinion, if I bought it at 19, the slip up happens at 50. You now tell me I don't have the asset, but you're telling me you're giving me 50 grand. Now my asset is not as worth because now you're just giving me shit. You're trading me, the dirty value of it.
Yeah.
Sat squeeze, guys. Something to keep in mind. If you dollar cost averaging and you could bump it up a little bit, or if you want to make any moves. I hear a lot of people on Twitter basically talking about this being like the beach ball that's being held underneath the water. This thing is about to get let go. And y'all know what happens when you put that beach ball underneath the water. The thing goes kaboom.
Yeah, man.
This is not financial advice. It never is. It never will be.
Yeah.
But, I was talking to my wife about this, about an individual I know that is not sold and doesn't have to be sold, but the reasoning is bad.
Yeah.
So what my thing is that
have fun staying poor.
Yeah, like you can't teach people to a certain level.
I haven't said that to anybody yet.
I kind of
in person. I might almost be there.
I get the vibe of it. Does that make sense?
Bitcoin 100K. I might just start saying it, bro.
It's just weird. It's not weird. Everybody gets the information different, but the fact that you want to learn, but you want to learn on your time.
Yeah.
So you kind of want me to repeat that. So to me, I would probably not say that to somebody. Have fun staying poor.
Yeah.
But the gist of it.
Yeah. That's the attitude. Yeah.
how many times you want me to circle back around and walk you through this? Like,
yeah, I mean, in my sense, I like to talk about numbers, right? So we talked about gold, stocks, Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's like anybody who's just looking at anything on numerically, like, do you want to lose 10% of your money? Do you want to grow your money 5%? Or do you want to grow your money 100%?
Proven.
In this short period of time. You know what I mean? Like,
when no puppet stuff going on. You know the rules of the game. The rules are very clear. That's what the white papers are for. That's what the information is out there. Yeah. There's a fantastic community that can give you the information. That's where we get most of our information. So it's like, really, you know, have fun staying poor.
I think it's a Twitter thing. It's so common. It's almost as common as HODL.
It's just, at the very beginning, I was like, man, this is kind of being harsh, right? And we can get into the conversation actually here. We're bouncing around, but that's great. Lex Fridman, being in Clubhouse, talk about Bitcoiners being toxic.
Yeah, you're on Clubhouse, so.
Yeah, well, the go down happened on Twitter.
Gotcha.
But in Clubhouse, I guess is where everybody grouped up and kind of...
gang.
So there was a while ago where Lex Fridman, I don't know his exact resume, but I know he's a very accomplished guy. He does jujitsu. He's very big on philosophy. He's an MIT grad, AI, that type of stuff, right? So this is a very smart guy.
Sounds like cool stuff.
Very humble guy. He has a podcast, a great podcast. And he talks very slowly. He's a well-mannered guy. He talks very well-paced. But Lex Fridman was in an early room where Eric Weinstein, I believe, they were getting, they were asking questions, but they were asking, it seemed like they were trolling.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I was in the room and it kind of sounded like they were trolling.
Yeah.
So the Bitcoiners jumped all over them. Long story short, it went off on Twitter and Lex started blocking mad people. And once I just said, Lex is a love dude. Like, I'm not about, animosity, all that stuff. So once people started getting blocked, the Bitcoin hive came and was like, well, why are you blocking my man? And then that person got blocked and it just started to spill over. So they ended up in a Clubhouse room that was titled something along the lines of like, are Bitcoiners toxic?
Yeah.
And there was all the bigger, the bigger guys, Jimmy Song was in there, HODL was in there, American HODL was in there. A lot of those guys that talk in the Clubhouse rooms are like Cafe Bitcoin guys were in there. But what basically happened is Lex was in there basically explaining like, look, you guys have to get that even though I understand it, you still can't make me get in here.
Yeah.
And they weren't having that. Like they didn't want to hear the fact that he didn't want to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And it was kind of toxic, but it is also one of those things where you could buy $10. It makes no sense.
It doesn't have to be 100% of your portfolio. It could just be a slice.
It's very weird.
2%, 5%.
But people don't like to be insulted. And I think people just feel insulted when you try to tell them like,
Dude, a lot of dudes on Twitter be snarky and even Facebook, text message, like all that communication, there's so much that can be misunderstood. You don't know if someone's being snarky, particularly. Right. You don't know if they're, jabbing at you. So like, I like the Clubhouse stuff because you can be like, what'd you say?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can like hear the tone in their voice and you can have that conversation.
Exactly. I mean, if you're willing to spend the time just sitting there listening, but yes.
I mean, if you're in a room, right?
Yeah.
Versus like the Twitter back and forth of and it's public. So
he was just blocking people like basically on the strength, and I felt them. He was just like, hey, listen, it just became a lot.
Yeah,
like these guys were just like hitting me up in my DMs and stuff. It just got crazy, so he just started blocking people. But I just found it funny that even though the argument was Bitcoiners are not toxic, everybody in the room was still pretty toxic to them. But they had good points.
Yeah.
And then the Grant Cardone example we brought up last week is still a valid point. My man, we're no longer playing your sport.
Yeah.
You have to understand that.
Right.
And if you don't understand that, you're going to get injured and leave the game, or we're going to kick you out the game.
Yeah.
So I think it was that vibe with Lex too. I was like, look, if you're not willing, some people were even saying, hey, set up a wallet and we'll send you $50. Like they just wanted him to hold it. But to Lex's defense, it was like, he read the white papers. He's done a lot of research. He's read a lot of the books. He's done his homework.
He's just not there yet.
He just doesn't tie himself to those things. He even explained that in the room. And that's why I keep laughing, because he was explaining humbly why I was like, it's just, I don't tie myself to possessions. Assets mean nothing to me. Like I'm vibing at a different frequency. And the comebacks were still like, you still got to have it.
For your kids. For your kids.
Whatever the reason, man. But you got to listen, we can't be hypocrites. We also have to give a person that has looked into it, has done their homework, the ability to be like, hey, man, you guys have fun.
Yo, when I talk to people and like they still haven't bought, I'll just be like, hey, shoot me your Cash App.
Yeah.
And I'll just send them like $20. So.
Sure. Sure, you know whatever it takes.
Just to like...
But you know what I know, and is if they're bad with money, that's going to get converted and turned into McDonald's really fast.
Oh, sure.
So, and I know that's not your intention, nor is it your worry. Yeah. I understand that. And that's a good move to do.
Yeah.
But it's like, even at that point, I still think people would be like, well, okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to turn this into cash.
Yeah.
Get myself some Chick-fil-A or whatever.
No, I mean, like, I don't know.
That's what I'm encountering. And not a lot. I've gotten a lot of love. I've gotten a lot of people reaching out due to the show, due to just people that I know that are just like, hey, man, thanks for the information. But it's not like the ones that don't do it are like very logical and they're not doing it. It's always like a misunderstanding thing. Like, not like they feel you're trying to make them do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can't even remember feeling that way in 2017.
Yeah.
Like in 2017, I just had it wrong, but I still didn't feel like it was that type of vibe where like, I didn't want to learn about that. I wanted to learn about it. It just felt like a stock.
Yeah.
And nobody explained to me that it wasn't. Nor do I don't think the audience was ready, like the
there was less education.
I was about to say the guys we follow now didn't exist at that time. They were
Swan Bitcoin's a year old.
They were young.
They're a major educator.
Yeah. And I'm sure there was no Breed Loves of the world. There was definitely no Michael Saylor.
Michael Saylor got in it last year.
Yeah, there was no COVID. There was no stimuluses. There was no reasoning. There was no narrative. Mm-hmm. There was no store value. There was a lot of things that lined up perfectly in 2020 to get us to where we're at right now.
Yeah.
But I think the point we're trying to make here and anybody listening is ride that wave though. Like this stuff is happening whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Another one of my favorite lines in Bitcoin is, you need Bitcoin. It doesn't need you.
Mm.
So that's a powerful line, and that's not a diss. It sounds like one, but at the end of the day, let's be real. You don't buy Bitcoin, that's good. That's on you. But then we go back to the vibe of have fun.
Staying poor.
Because when somebody's giving you the knowledge in whatever arena it may be, right? If it's recording, if it's whatever it may be, if it's money, if it's finance, and you're just not doing anything with that, that doesn't mean you can't turn it into your value. It just means you're not doing anything with it. You might be doomed to be poor.
Yeah.
You might be doomed to be that.
Not everybody's made to invest. Everybody.
This one's an easy one, though.
This is an easy one.
The other ones are
for sure.
This one is like, it's a layup.
Mm-hmm.
It's a layup. It's like, you may have that small amount of chance of where you roll up to the basket and the ball kind of like comes out. Like, very 1%. But this one is going to go in 99% of the time. If not for the stuff that we're saying, the mass adoption,
right?
The big companies coming in. Listen, if fossil companies are moving in, follow the money. Follow the money.
Listen, looking at the market cap of Bitcoin, we're at 1.1 trillion. Mm-hmm. Gold is at like 1.4, 1.5. And then what comes next? Facebook, Apple, Aramco.
I don't think it's
Microsoft.
Gold is 10. Silver.
Gold is number one. Gold is 10 trillion.
Yeah, 10.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but
I think you just said gold, but I know what you mean.
Most of that data is basically in the 2 trillion range.
Okay.
Like companies, Apple has 2.2 trillion.
Gotcha. Yep.
So once Bitcoin gets to 2.5 trillion and it's number 2, how long before gold melts from 10 trillion down to 5 and we see 6 trillion injected into Bitcoin?
Fast.
You know what I mean? At 10 trillion market cap Bitcoin, we're talking about Bitcoin's $500,000.
Yeah. That's insane.
You were afforded the opportunity to buy Bitcoin in 2020 for $3,800.
Let me not even say afforded the opportunity. Yes, you're afforded the opportunity because it's easy to buy.
Yeah, but you gotta capitalize on it.
But no, also afforded the education.
Yeah.
Don't take our word for it. We're education. But there is educators.
Yeah.
Like there's guys out there.
Get the book, The Bitcoin Standard.
For sure.
Start there.
Yep.
Check out swanbitcoin.com. Check out their work on the Clubhouse.
Yep.
Check out Preston Pish. Listen to Michael Saylor. There's some solid education.
Yeah, and guys that have been around since, it was low and understand what's happening. But these guys are not shooting theory out there. They're kind of giving you the information right there. Like, hey, I can't make this up. This is about to happen. Mm-hmm. And beach ball effect, once again, this thing is going down.
The halving chart covers the last 3 halvings.
You showed me that. And impressive chart.
It's incredible.
We should tag that somewhere.
We should tag that in the notes or on Twitter. But the next halving chart with the prediction, I mean, you're talking a 200 to 400K Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and I think that's on the easy side.
Yeah, that's within the next 4 years.
Yeah, this is big, guys. And that's also known in the Bitcoin community. If you could seem to ride, if your time preference can be 4 years, that doesn't mean you got to wait 4 years because we're moving fast.
Yeah.
But if you're historically proven in Bitcoin to benefit the most, if your time preference could be at minimum 4 years.
Yeah.
Every time a halving comes around, if you were there 4 years ago, you have a chance to ride it.
Yeah.
And a halving, for those that don't know, is a shortage of supply. Every 4 years, programmatically, which is what's impressive about Bitcoin, the supply that the miners can push out basically gets cut in half. Not a quarter, in half. This is why you don't have to trust me. You don't have to trust Michael Saylor. You don't have to trust anybody.
Elon Musk.
You trust math. This is a no-brainer situation where...
You can't trust the central banks?
That's not math. That's...
Federal Reserve?
That's smoke and mirrors is what that is. That's not math. They're doing some crazy stuff in the background. And everybody knows that whole system in the background is built off credit to credit.
Yeah.
That's not actual to actual.
Like resources.
On Bitcoin, it's settlements. We are settling these transactions immediately or in the next 10 minutes with the next block. But with Lightning, we're settling instantaneously for a penny if that penny happens.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing about the Lightning Network. It's like you have to hop from node to node to get to your destination. But even that is extremely cheap.
Yeah.
And if you don't have to hop many times, I think the fee is like non-existent. I don't even think there is a fee.
Crazy.
I say I think because I haven't played with bigger transactions.
Like $1 million transaction?
That's what I was about to say. I haven't played with big transactions.
Gotcha.
You know I don't have $1 million. Come on, man.
I'm not $1 million.
Listen, sorry, I love y'all, but for $1 million, I might not be doing talking in bits right now. But but I don't know. But it's getting there to the point where it's happening.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, you don't have to trade your Bitcoin for Lightning.
On the Bitcoin network, I've seen $100 million go with like a $15 fee, $20.
Oh yeah, the gas fees are not high. Yeah, especially if you're willing to wait for the mempool to drop, which is the amount of people making transactions. But people complain about fees. People don't like fees. Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah. So it could be $20, it could be $100.
Yep.
You don't get the same heat.
Yeah.
They want them free.
Yeah.
But they want the system to be secured. It just doesn't work that way. These miners need to get rewarded for that stuff.
Absolutely.
We talk about BlockFi all the time.
Yep.
They got the this weird stipulation, which it doesn't make them a bad business.
Yeah, you know what I was thinking about?
What's up?
I think I read they have a white paper on it, right?
I think so. I didn't read it. I think I
skimmed through it, and my understanding was that like Bitcoin can be used for illicit things.
Yes.
Right. Ross Albright, Dark Silk Road, or whatever.
Sure.
From my understanding, it seems like they're just trying to have clean Bitcoin on their books. And my thinking is like they're going to be highly regulated.
Yeah.
So if their books are getting audited or whatever, what if they have $1 billion in quote unquote dirty Bitcoin or something? Like that's the only thing I'm thinking about. Because if they're doing it for any other reason outside of that, it seems super lame.
Yeah, I agree. Once again, I don't think they're a bad business for that. And I think you're right. Responsibility is being able to stuff. But you're, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You're a crypto company.
No, I know. Yeah.
You just have to Google the word crypto.
Yeah.
Anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you care?
Yeah.
It's a wallet that's proven and verified on the Bitcoin network. I can't speak for Ethereum and all that stuff. Yeah. So we're talking because they have multiple assets and BlockFi. But it's a wallet being sent to your wallet, not another made-up wallet, your wallet, and you have the keys for that wallet.
Yeah.
You're going against the ethos of what I can do. Because if I want to use BlockFi services and I want to stay anonymous off the books, you have now ejected me from service.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm just using what the Bitcoin network was built to do with these layers and infrastructures, which is CoinJoin and stuff like that, is to protect my problem.
Yeah. Can you describe what CoinJoin is?
CoinJoin is basically you get meshed, and I have not done this personally, but from what I understand, CoinJoin is a type of technology that allows you to mesh your transaction with other people's transactions.
On the same block?
Right. From a random wallet. So that they can't necessarily say that you wrote that block, you wrote that transaction.
Exactly. So it's almost like a VPN, where if I'm on the internet here and I'm trying to get on Binance Global, I need to send my internet signal to the UK or to China or wherever, and I'm able to then access it.
It's more like bursting a pipe. It's more like I make it easy for you to find me if I give you one wallet with one address, but I make it tougher for you to find me if there's 200,000 addresses in there.
Yeah.
That type of thing. So you're bursting the pipe of what they can track. Now, one would say, Silk Road, why would you want to hide what you can track?
Yeah.
Well, I don't do anything illegal, and you can take my word for it or not, but I still respect KYC. I still don't want people to know that I'm doing these transactions. And that should be to my discretion. Hence, cryptography, which is why we're solving these problems. doesn't make them a bad company. I feel we talk about them all the time, and I'm definitely the guy that does that.
No, they're in the news and we're talking about it. And again, it's not just BlockFi. It's going to be this new institutional lending industry within Bitcoin. So, I mean, we say BlockFi today, tomorrow it's going to be Gemini or like, so we're just talking about these practices. So it's, we're not
and they'll learn from them or whatever. I talked to you before the show. I moved, a good amount of Bitcoin off of BlockFi and it went smooth. They didn't give me, I mean, they had all their stipulations listed everywhere. But the transaction took about 3 days. They ended up in my cold storage. They even though they said they were going to take a fee, I think they waived the fee. Cool. That's fantastic. But, we're trying to escape the same problems that got us in a pinch. And if you keep introducing those practices just to make a buck, damn it. I mean,
are you comparing that to like traditional banking?
Yeah, you're bringing those same games back with an asset that is irreplaceable. This is not Ethereum, right? This is not that if I lose my Ethereum, I lose my wallet.
People don't have that attitude now, though.
Why?
Because it's still early. 50 years from now, I think, 100 years from now, people will have that conviction of like, this scarce asset. You speak it, I know it because we study it.
That's what it is. Like when you think about the models and then you think about Ethereum and the other coins, they can make more of them. Yeah. So that doesn't make it a bad investment. That just knows that if you get screwed, they'll give you back US stable coin because they have insurance. They can reimburse you. And then you just buy more Ethereum. Right. But Bitcoin is not that. Yeah. We talk about it all the time. It's the scarcity, it's the havings, it's the supply and demand, it's the mathematical trust. What? Like, what are we doing here? You're going to tell me that if I buy at 19 and I hold with you until 60 for 6%, which I still think is trash, in my opinion, to hold Bitcoin, maybe not Ethereum, you're going to tell me that, whoops, hey, man, we were playing around in the background with whatever we were doing and we messed up. Don't worry, we got insurance. Yeah. We're going to give you $60,000 worth of USD coin because that's how much Bitcoin you had. Now I can't have a $19,000 Bitcoin anymore. You deleted my asset and have given me a worse version of it. Stable coined up. Awesome. 8% interest. Smart move. Ethereum investing. Smart to get interest on Ethereum. You can get as much of that back at any value you want. Please, if you listen to this show and you agree with either philosophy, you have to own your keys to this asset. It's non-negotiable. Unless you don't want to be your own bank.
Yeah, I mean,
there's good arguments for that. I'll give you that. Not you personally, but I've heard people give solid arguments for that. Yeah. You may want BlockFi to take the responsibility of your keys. Yeah. Because you know that you could be in Costa Rica, you could pull out your cell phone, and BlockFi is going to handle all the BS. I understand that. Yeah. Do that shit with the other coins. Yeah. I hear you. Hold that Bitcoin, man. Yeah. This is, I'm not trying to convince you, the listeners. This is rare. This is something big. It may sound like a gimmick. 21 million, huh? We have a long way to go. Now
we won't see it, but our kids will.
Yes.
Our kids.
Yes. When you see the sat squeeze and we start talking about, I've had people complain to me that I've told about Fold. They're like, I got 10 sats on a spin. $10? Yeah. Yeah. It might be more than that at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah. I think someone had tweeted, they were like, the new one Bitcoin is 0.10. Yeah.
That's, what I mean? That means everybody's in on this pie, but when these big dogs get in, we don't have any piece of the pie. Yeah. You got to get into the piece of the pie. To get off of Clubhouse, which we went on a tangent left, they got rid of BitcoinTina.
Yeah, I heard that.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, there's some outrage on Twitter.
Don't do that. First of all, you guys are too young of a company to stop moderating shit. I'm just going to say that off the bat. Yeah. Second of all, I've heard Tina, I don't know if I should be ashamed to say this or not. I've heard Tina talk about Bitcoin for probably more than 12 hours total. Like a lot of time in Tina, BitcoinTina specifically. Shout out to BitcoinTina. You're fantastic. He's not saying anything wrong to people. Yeah. He's the common sense guy. He's the guy that comes out of nowhere and smacks you on the side of the head and says, I'm trying to help you. Like, he's that guy. Like, I threw the life vest at you. Like, I told you how to put it on. Like, I'm tired of doing that. Yeah. He may be the antithesis to have fun staying poor. Because he's a loud, older, he's a boomer. So he's an older boomer that just is very passionate because he's seen the bullshit. Yeah. He's seen what's happened.
He's lived it.
So to me, maybe I'm weird. Yeah. You sound like me. We have to listen to this guy. This guy knows a thing or two.
Respect the OGs. Like, These kids don't have manners, man.
And dudes be trying to call them out. And, Tina's there, man. Tina is over. Get Tina back on Clubhouse. Yeah. And whoever.
I think he submitted something to get back on.
Listen, Tina is big to the Bitcoin community because sometimes when we do business, sometimes when we talk and interact with audiences, Preston Pish can only be Preston Pish. Yep. Jose can only be Jose. Ben can only be Jose. Tina is the guy that's taking the bullet.
You said Ben could be Jose.
Oh, you know what I mean. Sorry. Tina, on the other hand, is the guy that doesn't need to keep and he's the guy that takes the show for us.
Yeah.
He's smacking people for us out there on the reg. Like on Twitter, we need those guys. Those are the guys that are willing to take the bullets and say whatever it is they have to say regardless. Yeah. I would even say the Max Kellerman's of the world. I don't want to say his name wrong, but...
Yeah, Max Kellerman.
Yeah, Max Kellerman's of the world. That type of guy. Whereas they've been around the block. They understand what's going on, and they understand Bitcoin.
Or Max Kaiser.
Max Kaiser.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
We're thinking HBO boxing.
Hey, shout out to Kellerman and Kaiser. How about that? But yeah, it's something big going on out here. And, BlockFi with the no coin join thing. The only reason it's a big deal to me is, I'm big on security. I'm big on the keys. Mm-hmm. I'm big on the philosophy of, if the ship sinks, we can take this with us.
Yeah.
They're not doing enough to have for them to keep your keys. 6% is not enough. And I've been getting into peer-to-peer exchanges. Mm-hmm. The argument that I have with BlockFi, heck, the argument that I have with Cash App, the argument that I have with all these guys, KYC is important.
Yeah.
There's breaches. I think there was one this week. It wasn't in the US. But either way, there's breaches to our information. And this isn't just happening to ledgers, small companies. This is happening to big companies. It is possible to buy Bitcoin on a peer-to-peer exchange and never have to KYC. That's big, and that's something that I'm looking into. And once again, I'm not trying to peddle drugs. I'm not trying to buy AK-47s.
No.
I just understand the value of...
I want privacy.
If I don't need you to know...
My transactions are none of your business.
That's it. That's all. That's the hill I'm dying on.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, fam. This is none of your concern.
But for some reason, they care of what you're doing. And this is why the BlockFis of the world can't exist, but have to be, persecuted for this stuff because you're in the crypto space. You're going against the ethos of it. And at that, when you come to think about it, when it comes to Bitcoin, everything else is different. When it comes to Bitcoin, you're not even giving me that fair of a deal for this.
Yeah.
It's not even like a fair exchange.
I think there was a tweet that had said, my bank approved my transaction.
Yeah.
My Bitcoin transaction was confirmed. Right, there's a difference. And so any institution that comes in, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, BlockFi, whatever, they're going to kind of work as a bank to a degree where they might lean more towards we are going to approve your transaction versus confirm it on the blockchain. You know what I mean?
Right.
Prime example is you send money from CoinJoin to BlockFi. BlockFi says this is not approved. Right, there's your example right there.
Yeah. But there's a blockchain that tells me that it's approved.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell me it's approved.
Yeah.
Your address, your wallet was generated on the blockchain, just like my wallet was, whether it was a CoinJoin one or not.
Yep. Tell me about peer-to-peer.
Peer-to-peer, HODL HODL. Shout out to them. I've listened to a Preston Pish episode, and I've listened to... I think he was on another episode with somebody else, maybe Peter McCormick or whatever. So anyways, I don't know the gentleman's name. HODL HODL is a peer-to-peer exchange company.
Yo, Peter McCormick.
What's up? That's my guy, man.
He
got a pretty good podcast.
I think he was picking up the Aston Martin.
You think he's trolling? I think he's trolling.
You think so?
He took a picture of like 20 cars today and said they were his.
No, but he's been on his Aston Martin where he's like, yo, this is the one BlockFi interest is going to pay for it. And then the next day, BlockFi was like, interest rates cut. And then people were trolling
I don't think I can answer this because I don't understand what it is to be a baller.
Yeah.
And B, I personally think that Peter McCormick is a smart businessman.
Yeah,
and I don't think
he might be trolling.
And I don't think he would buy that shit with Bitcoin, at least. Does he have extra money? Shit. Yeah. I mean, whatever. But yeah, that's what I think about that. But we can't allow these companies to come in. And I don't really trust the influencers because they can be paid. Casa is actually under scrutiny lately because there's a lot of guys that are quote unquote paid.
Casa?
Yeah, which are signature key holding services.
It's the same thing with Justin Tron on Twitter, where he has the TRX coin and like the Binance guys, like they're paying influencers to tweet certain things.
And that's where it gets messy for the new people. And listen, it is much easier to keep your Bitcoin, especially if you got a few $1,000s, maybe on a Cash App, maybe on these places, I don't expect to deteriorate, but once you go down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin and you understand that you know, you don't own it, it changes the ballgame. And that's what I just want people to understand. I know it's easier to not do cold storage. I know it takes up a lot of my time to learn the stuff and do it right. I know the risk that come with it. So for anybody listening, don't think that I'm urging you to do it right away. These services exist for a reason. BlockFi exists for the certain type of person, Casa, all these places. But I think the Bitcoin community is on that, like, especially the ones that have been around for a while. They're like, y'all just trying to profit. Like, this stuff is not even needed for the average person. But if you spin the narrative as we can do X, Y, Z for you, you can make a lot of money off the average person who doesn't want to do the info. So I think the companies that are getting respect are the ones that are crypto friendly, open sourced, always open source. Like I said last week, node, open source, open source, open source. I don't care what you have to offer if I can't see what you're doing with it. That's the crypto ethos. And I mean, these guys, these are big companies. They got grade A funding, roundings, and they're smarter than I am for sure. But I think the obvious person is thinking like, we're running away from manipulation and walking into a different type of manipulation. And that's my fear, at least, as a hodler.
I think they'll all, like, this whole new institution of lending and borrowing and interest and all that. I don't think, like, if there's, you know, 1 million Bitcoiners, maybe they have a market of like 50,000. You know what I mean? Like they're for a certain customer and a certain need. But I think the future of everyone will be, you know, dollar cost average, hold, self-custody. I can't wait until, you know, we see a Samsung or Apple wallet or something like that.
These companies will always thrive because, and you would agree, Americans just want easy stuff. We're the Amazon country, right? We're like that type of vibe where we want stuff brought to us. So these companies will always exist because they're always going to handle difficult stuff. But please understand the risk that comes with
absolutely.
These companies saying see you later. And it's happened before, it can happen again. So it's very foolish. It's not that difficult. Like I was telling somebody again today about the Trezor, Ledger, Easy, Cold Card being difficult. Listen, if you know how to use a Nintendo controller,
you can do it.
You can do a Cold Card. You can do a Ledger. Like the Cold Card is not that. Don't let them gas you up and say that's crazy. It's not. Just look at what type of security you want to get. There's different variants of it and go from there. But
my boy sent me a watch that I think had something to do with seed phrase. And it was like a physical watch. I'm going to have to pull it up and see.
Like he had it embedded? That's a bad idea, by the way.
No, it was like a company who produces them.
I don't know. Like a real seed phrase?
I'm going to have to look at it. It had something to do with hardware and a watch. But I think it was of the idea of like email, password, encrypted that connect to your seed phrase or something to get access to it. Something like that.
Okay. Do you know what an open DAM is?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I can see it being like an open DAM is like a little USB that basically is a wallet, like in itself. Like if you want to give somebody some Bitcoin, like a lot, just give them an open DAM. And it's like a little USB, and they could go do whatever they want with it.
Dope.
So I can see where the watch may have something like that inside of it.
Here handing out flash drives of sats in the future.
They're mad incognito too. They're like this big or whatever, and they look like
Can
USB.
It be a regular flash drive or?
Well, they sell them specifically as open DAM.
Got it.
Yeah. And same people who does the Cold Card, and they're anonymous. They look whatever, and then when you plug them in, they have money in them. They have Bitcoin in them.
Cool.
So it's sort of like giving somebody a gift card. In that sense, in a USB fashion, Bitcoin fashion.
That's cool.
So HODL real quick before we move on to the peer-to-peer. So it's
a website. It's a
website. It's a marketing platform, peer-to-peer lending exchange. And what peer-to-peer is
lending.
Let's
talk about it.
So HODL allows you to set your terms, set your deal, and look for people to pick up on.
Oh, that's fire.
And
because if you're a whale, you could just
exactly. And it's no KYC. You can sign up in minutes, and what they do is really cool. I was blown away by this conversation. So let's just give me and you as an example. You're gonna lend me $1,000 at the term that I'm gonna pay you $100 a week for the next whatever, right? So we build this contract into a multi-sig. You put the $1,000 up. Right. And we settle up there in that level. And then when you say green light, give Jose the $1,000 because I approve this transaction, I get access to the $1,000, but you're safe in the multi-sig. I think I'm screwing that up.
Is it almost it's
really cool, dude. Let me rewind on it.
I'm thinking a collateralized loan. But okay, let's do it like this. I want to borrow 20 grand.
Right.
So what's the deal? What would the terms be like?
So you want to borrow 20 grand. Let's just use 1,000 one for an easy example. So $1,000.
Yep.
$100 a week. We build that contract in. You put the $1,000 in. I get access to the $1,000. I have to fulfill through the multi-sig contract the $100 a week, or I default on that contract.
Oh, because it's being drawn out
because
to the other person.
Correct.
To the
it's really cool
to the loaner.
Yes. At your terms.
Got it.
And it's all anonymous, and it all handles a multi-sig transaction. Okay. So they make up a wallet for you to sit this track. I'm butchering it. I sure I am. But I was blown away by the fact that you don't need a middle party. And the HODL HODL dude even said himself, like, we let the contract do the talking. Like, we don't need to. Rarely do we have to mediate.
Yeah.
Because the contract is set in stone and the terms are set in stone.
I'm going to have to check that out.
HODL HODL, peer-to-peer exchange, which is why.
I mean, like, would BlockFi be better?
For what?
To get a loan?
Well, you go through the whole KYC process. They know who you are. They know what you're doing. You can't set your terms. They set the terms.
That's right.
Right. HODL HODL is like, I'm trying to get 10% on one Bitcoin.
I wonder what the rates are.
You look into it, but HODL HODL is definitely, and there's a few other ones. BISC, I think it's another one. There's a few peer-to-peer platforms that do this no KYC type exchange, and you could be a lender or a borrower.
Okay.
And it's not just Bitcoin, stablecoin as well.
So let's stay with the same theme.
Yeah.
That's peer-to-peer exchange. Now, how would someone cash out around KYC? Like if you're trying to turn Bitcoin to cash on the fly.
You would only need to KYC where you check out. So remember, you go from HODL HODL to, let's say, cold storage or hot wallet. Like, I don't know about you, but I've been using my Cash App a lot more lately to be that middle step. Like, I've been using my Cash App as a hot wallet now.
Yeah.
So as soon as it's like, where am I going to send this Bitcoin to, where it's like a default place that I can move with it? I pull up my Cash App, I draw up an address, and I use that. So I send it straight to Cash App. So I guess the answer would be is go from HODL HODL to Cash App, and then you would only be KYC'd at Cash App instead of being KYC'd at everything that happened at HODL HODL.
Gotcha.
So you're anonymous with everything that happened at HODL HODL, regardless what the terms were. And then you're only on the grid if you have to cash out on Cash App.
Okay.
Or remember, we're hodling, so it's never going to get cashed out.
Yeah. I'm just thinking.
But remember, you can leverage Bitcoin for stablecoin, right? So you can send to a BlockFi stablecoin address and say, hey, my term is that this multi-sig is going to hold my Bitcoin. But as he's paying me the loan back, the other person, that stablecoin he's paying me back in. And when the terms are met, not only do I send my stablecoin wherever I want, BlockFi, my Bitcoin gets released back to me because I lended it. You see what I'm saying? It's a multi-sig contract. So I don't even have to worry about the other guy. I don't even have to know who the other person is. They just have to agree to the terms ahead of time. And this multi-sig contract has to happen. HODL HODL does the multi-sig contract. Yeah. You guys fulfill the speculation. The exchange happens address to address.
Let me break down a scenario, right?
Yeah. Is there risk? Yes. Not financial advice.
Of course.
But KYC is big too.
Yeah. So in the financial world, there were services like LendingTree where if you had cash, you could do the same thing. You could set terms and say, I'll lend you 50 grand at 10%.
Yep.
Right. And then I would have to trust on you to pay that back.
Right.
And you could have, 100 loans that you're lending on.
Right.
So this seems like a similar idea with Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
But would it, I don't know, if I had a whole Bitcoin, if I gave out, 10, 20 loans and I was going to get 100% back.
Yeah.
You could buy yourself a whole nother coin with profits from lending.
Whatever mathematics you want to do to it.
I don't know what the percentage, I'm going to have to look at the numbers.
I think to me, it was just the expiring thing is that you do a peer-to-peer network where you go back to the ethos of crypto, which is you trust the anonymous, you trust the system, you don't trust the person. That's the whole point.
Yep.
So I just went to their website really good, and they're a global peer-to-peer Bitcoin trading platform that doesn't hold the funds. Right, so there's a dashboard here, and there's a lot of people doing their offerings. Hey, you can get this, you can get that, you can do stablecoin. It's anonymous, it's cheap, low fees, usually 0.6%, equally split between the parties of the trade.
Gotcha.
So, and it's support for native SegWit, which is the old, is testnet secure. It's really good, but it goes off multi-sig, and this is the real cool part. Not only do they stick to the ethos of crypto, but they're not doing anything that's built on top of Bitcoin. Multi-sig is a feature or component that was built into Bitcoin very early on to its existence. So they're just leveraging one of the core functions of Bitcoin, which is a multi-sig address. And they've done it to the point where they just make multi-sig contracts where you and I could do these, 15, 10% deals.
That's cool.
And be able to pay each other out. And it's trustless.
Yeah.
And you don't get KYC'd. And then from there, you move your coins wherever you want.
Right.
That's what I've been into, which just angers me more about the BlockFi thing. Because it's like, all right, like, why do we need to play these games when
there's this awesome thing over here
and these guys are working hard. Like, it's not like they're just half-assers or whatever. Like, you could tell they're young, they're fresh, they're doing new things. You have to trust Bitcoin, the core, before you trust the financial
system. How's their marketing game?
I've heard them on a few podcasts.
Yeah.
I've heard of HODL HODL on Twitter a few times.
Gotcha.
But they've just caught me recently because, once again, it's when you want an itch to scratch.
Yeah, for
sure. So lately, to me, is avoiding KYC, doing this more anonymous, doing this smart.
It's like step 2 Bitcoin.
Yeah, whatever it is, I just feel that way. Like
step 3.
Yeah. So when I see, as you know, I say all that. When I start seeing fiat games, I start to figure out who's doing something that's not fiat game-ish, and I'm turned on to those companies. So HODL HODL was just that one that popped up. I haven't done it yet, but I plan on doing it. And it's really cool to be peer-to-peer, be, trust the system, be crypto-specific. And KYC is a threat. Even when you do it for the bank, it's not just Bitcoin, it's not just crypto. If somebody holds your information, which KYC is usually important information. It's not like they're just asking you for your birthday and stuff. They're taking a lot of information, your license picture, all that stuff. It's tough to try to sell me to being so strict, regardless what the business decision is, because you brought up a valid one for BlockFi, but being so strict that you would go against that ethos and still consider yourself a crypto trading company. I don't have it. I will stablecoin those guys to death.
Yeah.
That's about as far as they go. And maybe Ethereum, these other coins that you can reproduce with cash, but not the Mona Lisa.
Yep.
Not what we talk about every week. No. And 6%, you're dissing me. Yeah. Honestly, this is Preston Fish has been on this up for like a few months.
I have the conversation
16,
with
20.
people. Yeah, I have the conversation with people, and you talk to people, and they're just learning about Bitcoin, and they're like, yeah, you could buy Bitcoin, and then why not just cash out the profits? And it's like, nah, fam. Or even now, it's like, how much money do you have in the stock market? It's like, not a lot, bro.
Not a lot.
How much money do you have in your savings?
Not a lot.
I'm like, once you really understand Bitcoin, Michael Saylor would say, like, you don't trade it. He just had a video where the woman asked him, like, at the next high, before the dip comes, are you going to take some money off the table? And he just kind of looked at her like, listen.
I saw that. Yeah. You don't know who you're talking to. Yeah. Or what you're talking about.
Like he just broke it down. Like, if you're in Venezuela, are you going to take money off the table and put it into the Venezuelan dollar?
Like, what's happening?
It's melting ice cubes, and it's melting at a rate so fast that you're going to die.
I think they're not allowed. Was that the Times article where they're not allowed to talk Bitcoin?
She was
or
a
hold
part
Bitcoin?
of the New York Times, and how crazy that you can't buy Bitcoin if you work there or for a certain department.
Very strange.
That was weird. And so she had this whole rant about it. And it's just like, yeah, well, you should start dollar cost averaging. You know what I mean?
I would never let imagine my employer came to me and was like, yeah, you can't have Bitcoin. I'm out. I'm out.
Imagine, I think of slavery where it's like, no, you can't read this book.
Yeah. Doctors.
Why would you keep someone from, I don't know. Maybe
expanding.
Maybe they have a white paper on why they do that. Maybe there's...
Oh, you know why, man. Yeah. To take advantage, to control, right?
Someone had said it's because their allegiance is to the banks and fiat.
Yeah, but they're ignorant because anybody who even dabbles in history a little bit will tell you that the fiat's going to die. Yeah. It's a no-brainer. It's not even like, well, there'd be a different type of fiat. We were ahead last week again, digital dollar. Yeah, we're ahead every week. Hold on. You guys got to give us some love. Share this, man. Come on, give us some love. But yeah, digital dollar's happening really fast. And yeah, they may switch to something else, but that doesn't mean that this current currency is going to go down. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that there won't be an effect to that change. They can't just like blind you, tell you. But there's a lot worse things to worry about right now.
For sure.
Getting Bitcoin. So if you have to escape, you can escape with wealth. That sounds very crazy to say, by the way. So you have to escape, you can escape with wealth. But wouldn't you want to cross that off your list? Like, you don't want that to happen, but would you regret if it does happen? I
had the conversation with someone where it's like, when you go to a bank, if you take out more than 10 grand, you're getting questioned. If you're in an airport and you're carrying over X amount of dollars, they're going to pull you aside. Yeah. And it's just like, fam, this is my money, bro. Like, this ain't none of your business.
Nah, that's their money. It ain't none of
your business where I got it from. It ain't your business where I'm about to spend it. It's none of your concern. So, having a stash of your wealth, of your energy in a place in cyberspace that nobody can get to and nobody can mess with. You know what I mean? It's the idea of I'm becoming sovereign over the nation state.
Right.
That won't have sovereignty over my wealth.
Right. Exactly. Bingo. That's 100%. But you see why we can't let companies slide with not allowing this anonymous behavior? Like, listen, you can still be BlockFi and be big, being crypto friendly.
Yeah, you can
like,
do
what's happening? Them. Like, even if you bought like a HODL HODL, like even if you were like, yo, listen, we like what y'all doing. Let's collaborate. Let's figure it out. Like, let's do what you're doing. Let's model it. Like, whatever. But they have different goals and different ambitions. Listen, Jose is not a businessman. I don't want to pretend to be a businessman. Yeah. I think that's terrible. But I will say one thing. It's a no-brainer that if we're trying to avoid all the stuff that we're talking about, there's no reason to reproduce it.
Yeah.
We just build the new. Why are we recycling? We build anew and we build anonymous all the way through. Because if you really boil it down to it, a lot of the core problems that we're having on people getting banned on social media, any of the bigger problems that happen are due to privacy infringement. It's due to you invading or somebody invading your privacy without your permission. And people are nasty when you get into their privacy because people get exposed for who they are. So this cypherpunk crypto push needs to live. And I guess I'm under that philosophy of that mind note that I will die on the hill of secure, anonymous, untampered transactions.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point of it.
Yeah. And I'm torn because as an individual living in a fiat world, you still want to make fiat. You still want to capitalize. You still want to do these moves or whatever. But the philosophy is so ingrained that it's like, this thing is doing work on itself. Yeah. I don't need to do anything else to this thing besides hold it. Yeah. And I want a lot of people to get that messaging across or whatever. We have PayPal accepting the marketplace. We talked about them earlier here. Jack Mallers, Bitcoin, El Salvador. That's huge. Yeah. That's just like a small community in El Salvador. I've heard a podcast about them back in November, I believe. But they've been running on Bitcoin purely for a while. Sweet. And if you know anything about Jack Mallers and what he's doing, he probably just made that go kaboom because it's probably easier, faster, smoother now for those folks in El Salvador. Shout out to him. We talk about...
That's what I'm most excited about. Seeing how Bitcoin changes small communities, third world countries. Right. There's a tweet chain of someone saying, I've been dollar cost averaging Bitcoin for a few months. It ain't much, but I'm able to buy something I've never bought for myself before.
Come on, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, where Bitcoin's really going to change is where people don't have banking access. Yeah. Or they've been, blacklisted from a bank for whatever reason. Yeah. Like, this is going to literally change their life, their quality of life.
Yeah, I forgot about that. You know how difficult it is to get into a bank nowadays, dude? Like, it's like they're running credit checks and stuff. Like, what? I'm giving you my money. What are you talking about? Damn. Like, why are we going through this whole process? Bitcoin, you just pull out, open a new wallet address. Yeah. Like in a matter of minutes. Yep. But that's a, PayPal marketplace thing, whatever they want to do. I'm not a fan of that company. It's forward thinking in crypto, but I don't consider Bitcoin crypto. And listen, if you can't send to your cold storage. Yeah. Like, even if I do buy like some new gear or something with my Bitcoin, give me the option to send it somewhere. Yeah. It's a no-brainer. Once again, why are you going against the ethos of...
You're talking about PayPal?
Yeah, right. Gotcha. Like that move with PayPal, the marketplace. Robinhood. Yeah, like why you're messing with the ethos to try to capitalize? Because how ironic that now I can spend it on over 200 marketplaces that are PayPal network specific. Come on, man. Yeah. Come on, man. That's fiat games, man. Yeah. That's fiat games, man. So I'm not a fan of that. Capitalize. Is there a space for that? There's space for everybody, in my opinion. Yeah. So kudos to them. I'm not a business guy. This is all my opinions. This isn't marketing advice. Flipkart in India. Yep. Flipkart is the...
India's Amazon.
Quote unquote. Yeah. I don't buy anything from there. Obviously, I don't need to. But they're like, they're like that big, place to go to get everything. They accept Bitcoin now. Yeah. As of today. I think the pressure's on Amazon. Not that Amazon is sweating because they have a big reach and they do their thing. Yep. But why not?
Listen, Visa's here to play. Yeah. MasterCard doesn't want to play. Okay. JP Morgan's here. Like, all these big institutions are here. Right. Once, like, if Amazon adopts it, what does that mean? CVS, Target, Walmart, Best Buy, everybody now, whatever you have to adopt. Right. You know what I mean? Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, like everything we consume, Shell gas stations, like that'll be mass adoption. How long before Amazon takes it on? Will it be before or after we take over them in the market cap space?
Well, I'll give Amazon, I don't know why anybody with Amazon would ever be listening, but I'll give you an easy example right now. You gave me 5% back on my Prime Store card and any purchase that I make on the Prime Store card. Mm-hmm. That was a big one for me because I shop on Amazon a lot. So I'm chopping down other transactions.
Give me 20%.
Insert Fold. I buy my Amazon card at Fold, my gift card, $50, $100. I get 2,000, 3,000 sets, right? I could go over now and use that on Amazon, and then I get to spin the wheel, which is what Fold does. And sometimes I could get $100 back in sets. Sometimes I get $5, $10 back in sets. Your 5% store card is now obsolete in my criteria. I don't use you. Yeah. So if these companies don't want to get on board because they're egotistical or because blah, 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 whatever reason, understand this. You are already losing ground. Yeah. And when people start seeing the value of a Satoshi, the fact that I just gave you a gift card that gave me back 4,000 sats on the low, I think I got more than that. And those $4,000 somewhere down the road, just for doing a simple Amazon transaction, sorry, fam, your 5% card doesn't hold no weight in my deck. Like, matter of fact, please cancel that. Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah. Keep it open because if you cancel, it'll bring your credit down.
Yeah, I don't play with cards anyways. They can close on their own. I'm not a credit guy, but yes. Please work on your credit. Don't let me dismiss credit. Credit got me to where I'm at, and most people where they're at. But I don't cancel cards. Sometimes they hit me up like you're not using it. I'm like, all right, well, I'll put some gas on it. But you're right. That is a rule of doing it. But Flipkart accepting it should put the pressure on Amazon. It's a no-brainer. And if you don't want to do it natively, don't worry. We got the Jack Mallers of the world. We got Visa, like you said. We got Folds of the world that are literally rewarding people like me, like you, to be able to go get gift cards from them to go spend on your network anyways. So it's a no-brainer for Amazon to slide up in there. Now, if they try to come out and say, hey, listen, we're going to be doing all this with Ethereum in the background, yawn, bro. Yawn, bro.
Yeah.
Yawn. Like, even if you do it as a swag, like as a diss to Bitcoin, the people who know Lightning and the people who know the fees in Ethereum, they're not playing that game, man.
Right.
Like, you can't talk those people out of it. You could talk the average person out of it because the average person doesn't care as long as it happens on their fingertips. But get out of here, man. Lightning has proven what it needs to prove, and the value for value exchange has already been proven to be through Lightning, through Bitcoin. It wouldn't work on Ethereum. I wouldn't be able to listen to a podcast and stream sats on Ethereum.
Right.
The gas fees would be too high for me to stream that low shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's not. I'm sorry. I'm not positive. But you know what I mean? It's like it's not a feasible investment unless, like you said earlier, you want to kind of ride one and then cash out or do something like that.
Right.
But we're talking about cash here. We're talking about trading energy. We're talking about trading energy for time, and I don't feel trading my 9 to 5 energy for Ethereum is a smart trade.
Yeah.
And that kind of what it boils down to. But hey, I told you earlier, my 90 cents is now $1.10. Yay, Ethereum. Hey,
20 cents.
One day that'll be $20 and I'll buy Bitcoin with it. I tell you.
Trade up.
Trade up. Yeah, nobody ever talks about the taxes during trading. Nobody ever told me that, at least. There's a lot of taxes involved, though, right? Like if you trade for one asset for another?
Yeah, if you trade, one coin for another, it should trigger taxes. So you would report that, and then you would get capital gain taxed.
Okay.
Taxes are really tricky right now.
Yeah, no financial advice.
Yeah,
go see you guys.
So find a CPA who is. I did find that out though.
Yeah, because I was thinking even with the example of the basic one that we give from stablecoin to Bitcoin or whatever, that's still an asset to an asset. The stablecoin is $1 wrapped, but it's an asset considered digitally asset. So. There's a lot of, some people try to do a lot of trading and get beat on taxes alone, is what I was hearing. That's never happened to me at HODL, but a lot of people were saying that like, hey, a lot of people make moves and they get wrecked just off of taxes. They don't realize that they think they're winning, and then the 30%. Taxes come. Yeah, and then they get wrecked. So I didn't think about that. That's different.
Listen, I lost money trading options. I made a lot of money just buying and holding Bitcoin.
That's the easiest rule of all time.
And guess which was less stressful?
Well, let's get into that because you wanted to talk about quarter one investments.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, no, just if you're day trading or trading options, there's stress involved, right? And so, you can make money, but, what is your quality of life like, right? There's all these memes that are it'll have, an old white guy, and it's this guy's 25 and he loves trading. And it's no, sometimes it wrecks your mind. Versus how hard is it for me to dollar cost average through Swan?
Yeah.
I don't think about it. I just get an email that says, hey, you bought more Bitcoin. You bought more Bitcoin. I didn't do anything.
Boom.
That's what I mean? So if you have a 9 to 5, the trading is hard enough. If you have a 9 to 5, if you want to learn about it, read some books about it, listen to some podcasts, start paper trading. Right? Yeah. But man, it's time consuming. Right? Yeah. During the day, it's hard to do while you're at work. So it's just so much easier to dollar cost average, and it's so much more profitable, right? Correct. Q1 investments, gold down 10%, stock market up 5%, Bitcoin up 103%. So
why not hold? Why not hold? And this is a rare opportunity. I mean, look at that number there. That wasn't a close one, 5 and 8%. This is a different planet.
I didn't see 50K Bitcoin happening. I remember having January, February, March.
I don't think I did either. But
but at this rate, are we gonna 200% more? I mean, even if we go another 100%, it's 123 grand.
Yeah, I don't know where we're at right now, but I guess 65 by the end of the week. We got 2 days for that.
Yeah,
I think that'll happen.
Yeah,
and I've been wrong the last few weeks. That's fine. Yeah. Because like you said earlier, it's still a win. I'm buying more.
It's a matter of, if not, a few weeks from now, a month from now.
Yeah.
How long will it take? Summer, okay.
Yeah.
Still, even just driving here, it's all right. Bitcoin's $59,000. And it's been over 50 grand for a few weeks now.
And took a few shots in the mouth. Went down to 50, climbed back up.
Back.
That's a shot in the mouth, in my opinion, because once again, I mean, you wouldn't see as big of a up, but you also wouldn't see as big of a down. But the stock market is...
What's happening is like miners will sell off, or there was the Gemini news where people thought more Bitcoin became available on Gemini's exchange. Like, it's news-based, and some people might be taking profits or whatever. But we're holding above 50.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And anytime you see a big 20, 30% run, you're going to see 10, 20, maybe a 30% pullback. And it'll stabilize and do the same thing again, man. But
there's a lot of positioning happening here. Yeah. People moving money around left and right. People are trying to get their spots in.
A lot of money getting placed in a Tether.
Yeah.
I think it was like $10 billion on Tether. So it's basically they're ready to buy and they're waiting for the opportunity. Or they're, dollar cost averaging.
And all that being said, all the typical person has to do is...
You just got to buy.
And hold on to this shit.
The Teletubbies may have beat you to getting Bitcoin.
That's pretty sad.
Right? Yeah. But it's still not too late.
Nah.
Chipotle might have got you. Elon Musk might have got you.
Yeah.
All right. Michael Saylor got you.
Yeah.
It's still pretty early.
Just think about it as a savings too. That's how I've been able to get people to, like, don't even use the word investment. The word investment just scares people sometimes. Yeah, it's a savings. Just listen, scrape that dollar too. Like, throw that up in there. I've done some stuff that I laugh at my wife sometimes. Like, yo, that was super petty, but it doesn't matter in the long run. Like, it was a set. And there's things that existed before that are different now that are faucets.
Yeah.
And what faucets are is, hey, just come back here and spin this wheel, and we're just gonna give you free sets. That may seem weird to certain people or to high prolific people, but at the magnitude that this is going.
In a week, how many sats do you get?
You probably get about $5. Okay. No. Just off the spins, you'll get one. But if you do like Lolly and you do a few different ones, it probably add up to about $5.
Okay.
And then with the Lolly like premium card or whatever, you get a chance to get sats on every transaction, and most of the time they're healthy. Like, you've seen the shares and stuff. There's people getting over $100 on spins on sats. Like. Yeah, like, they're not just giving. So if you're going to be discouraged by the 10 sat spins, like they say, you may not deserve the $100 spin. Like, it's the easiest lottery to ever do. I don't have to walk to the corner store. I don't have to pay for anything. You do when you do the purchase spins, but they give you a daily one every day that you can just get free sats for.
Gotcha.
And at the end of the week, they give you it used to be $1,000. Now it's like 500. They tapered it down, but it's just free sats. And I remember when we first started this podcast early on, we had a whole episode on stacking sats. And remember, you're just trying to get to 100 million.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you get there.
Yeah.
You could buy it all in one shot. But those 10, 50, 75, 150 sats, at the end of the day, that's one step closer to your 100 mil, which is your whole coin. So, all right, maybe I'm not balling, but have fun staying for it, right? Like, because some people are like on this level. I'm not going to put $5 on it. Okay, so go get the free one.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna spend that. We don't get. Hold on now.
Even go if you're gonna book a vacation, go to Expedia, getbooking.com, use Lolly, and get $70 back on your trip. Get $50, $40 back on your trip.
You were doing this information anyways.
You're doing it anyways, and you're gonna get points back on your credit card if you have a points back card. So, like, do you want some free Bitcoin?
Free. People
literally free
like
Bitcoin.
Yeah, and I know you're probably here vibing with me because this happened to you. It's baffling to the point where even the free stuff, people don't want it. Yeah. Like, they just, whatever.
Yeah.
They're going to get Bitcoin at the price they deserve to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. And it's not too late. But even if you feel it's too late, yeah, you can still have a nice little Florida vacation by getting 10 sats a day from Fold for like a year and then getting that shit to stack up. You can still walk away with like a stack and go on a vacation next year just because you spun this little wheel.
Right.
Or you could hodl. And you get into 100 mil. It doesn't matter. 1, 2, every single one counts because it's not 99,900,000. It's 100 mil. One set, that one spin that you did on that lazy morning could have put you past the 100 mil mark.
Yeah.
You chose not to do it. You chose to pay for it as the price is inflating up.
Yeah.
Listen, I would say that maybe, this is random throwing numbers, 10% of my stack has come from like offers and free shit.
Sweet.
Like, that's 10% of my...
That's a stream of income.
And I didn't have to do anything for most of that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, man.
That's stacking sats strategy.
Yeah, that's the pleb strategy, right? Yeah. Because, 9 to 5s, we don't really have that much money to throw into, but there's just stack sats. As long as you stay humble and stack sats, that's my thing. Stay humble.
I mean, even with Bitcoin at this price, it's so discouraging that people know that they can't just buy one flat out. Yeah. So they've moved to, stack sats. Don't look at it as whole Bitcoins. Look at it as you're stacking sats and all that. Like that Satoshi, the breakdown graphic that I've sent you.
Yep.
Like I share that thing all the time.
Yeah.
Like, yo, look at it like this. And it's like changes the way you look at Bitcoin.
Price everything in Bitcoin. I do that too. Sometimes I make purchases. I'm like, damn, how much is that costing me?
Yeah.
Like, how many sats is that? How much possible potential Bitcoin I can get for that? But that's just me. I mean, that's why we do these videos. That's why we do this stuff. We're enthusiastic about it. I think the main reason we wanted to do this is for that. There's a lot of people that this could bail them out. Like, this could really change your life. It could bail you out of any frustration. It's made our lives easier, much more easier, regardless where they were at before Bitcoin. It's just one of those effective things that you can ride it to the moon, as they like to say in Bitcoin. That's all I got for them. We're about an hour and 11 minutes in.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good. Yeah. That's 2 touchdowns. That's episode 14 in the books. I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Guys, please rate, share, and subscribe. That's how we can continue to have these conversations. If there's any guests you want us to reach out to, or guests that are watching that may want to be on, reach out to us. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's important. Subscribe to the podcast when you're at work, when you're driving, when you're working out. Sometimes you can't check out the video. Share us with your friends, your family. It may not click for you, but it can click for them. And if you do anything to change somebody's life, anybody's day, it could be to give them that one key that they need to change. That's what we're here to provide. That's all we got.
That's all, bro.
Talk to you guys next week.
Peace.
Later.